Hey everyone, I'm back after a long hiatus. As some of you might know, I'm a law student, so it's a bit tough to get to amusement parks during the semester, but fortunately for me, it's winter break. And today I was lucky enough to take a trip out to the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey to check out Nickelodeon Universe. So I'll start off with some initial thoughts, go through my reviews of the rides, and the one coaster specifically that I didn't ride, and then just come to some final conclusions and basically tell you if a trip to Nickelodeon Universe is worth it. So, just some initial thoughts. Getting to the park was relatively easy. Personally, I took New Jersey Transit from Penn Station to Secaucus Junction. After they had buses that were running every half hour directly to American Dreams, that was very convenient. Once I got there, I checked out the mall in general a little bit. Got to see the ice rink. There were some stores that were starting to open, but overall, the mall is definitely still a work in progress. And then, yeah, just headed directly over to Nickelodeon Universe. So first I got a ride on Shredder. This is a relatively large spinning coaster. It's got a fun first drop, a few cool helices, and surprisingly a decent amount of airtime. I really enjoyed this ride. I would give it a 7 out of 10, and I would say it's definitely worth doing. Still sort of in the vein of a family more than a real thrill coaster, but yeah, give it a shot if you're there. Next was the Nickelodeon Slime Streak. Kind of, I guess you could say, like the Pepsi Ripsaw at the Mall of America. It also kind of is somewhat reminiscent of some Chance rides or Morgan coasters. No inversions, lap bars, of course, only. Again, more of a family model. I sat in the back row, and the first drop was actually pretty intense, which was somewhat surprising. The rest of the ride's layout was fairly uninspiring, and I would just say, if you've got kids, they'll probably enjoy it, or ride it for the credit otherwise, and then, don't do it again. As of right now, American Dream is basically pay one price to get in. It was $60 today. I have heard rumors, I'm not totally sure if this is true or if someone can confirm this, that'd be great, that they will be switching to a pay-per-ride system. But, I figured, hey, if I'm paying one price for all the rides, might as well pick up all the credits, get in everything. So Slime Streak, fairly average coaster, fairly uninspired. Sandy's Blastin' Bronco was unfortunately closed. I actually did not see it testing. I know that some other coaster enthusiasts have noted that Sandy's Blastin' Bronco has been testing the last few weeks. I was, a little bit optimistic that maybe it would be open today, but I guess, my timing wasn't right. I would imagine this coaster would be open very soon. And yeah, I would look forward to riding it in the future if I ever go back to American Dream. Timmy's Half-Pipe Havoc, basically an intimate surf rider model. I had actually never been on one of these. This was my first one. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Of course, fairly simple layout, with the shuttle and the two spikes, but it had some spinning. It had some spinning going on and some nice airtime, some nice float there. So yeah, that was an enjoyable coaster, especially for a small, very compact model. And then saving the best of last for, of course, is Shellraiser. So this ride I've been on a few Gerstlauer Eurofighters. I guess you'd just say most notably the Mystery Mine. I've also been on Cannibal Lagoon. I know that's not a Gerstlauer because it was built in-house, but I think inevitably this ride is going to draw some comparisons to Cannibal, both because of how insanely steep their, basically signature drop is, Cannibal, that being 116 degrees. Here you've got 121 and a half. Of course, this ride is pretty much a clone of Takabisha, too, with, a barely steeper drop, I think half a degree steeper drop. So, of course, there's going to be comparisons there. I haven't been to Japan, so I haven't been on that. I can't make a comparison. But anyway, Shellraiser is a fantastic ride. I was really fortunate in the sense that it was essentially a walk-on. I got rides in the front and the back. So basically the ride starts off, you just go down a little dip and go right into a JoJo roll right out of the station. Some very nice hang time on that. Kind of, I would say comparable, probably even better than what I experienced on Hydra and Copperhead Strike. You then go into the launch, which I think is around 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, and it is very forceful. I was ready for it. I would not say other people in my car were, and they were really taken aback by it. So that was cool. I really enjoyed the banana roll, and some of the other inversions were great. So then obviously, you get to the vertical lift, and of course that record-breaking drop. They hold you quite a bit at the top. I would say approximately 12 to 15 seconds. You can see the entire New York City skyline from the top. It's pretty cool. The drop itself, I think you definitely get a lot of float. You will come out of your seat. It is solidly intense. I did not think it was as intense as some others have thought. It's not forceless per se, but it's not the most intense drop I've ever been on. Perhaps even compared to something like, let's say Cannibal, which is 116 degrees. I actually felt like the drop on Cannibal was a bit more intense. But again, maybe that could be a little bit more about the setting as well, in the sense that on Cannibal, that's the first element of the ride. Here you've already gone through a ton of inversions and been through a pretty forceful launch prior to going down that drop. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's on an absolute scale not exciting or not thrilling. It's very thrilling. It's very exciting. It's just marginally underwhelming compared to what you might expect from looking at this ride and being like, oh my God, this is insane. But that being said, very nice drop. Ending of the ride was fun as well. I did notice a little bit of roughness. I think that was worse in the front than in the back, although it wasn't tremendously different to me. And I'm not really sure why this ride is this rough when it's that new. I know some Gerstlauers have had some issues with roughness. So that was a little disappointing. But man, this ride is intense. This is like probably not the most intense roller coaster I've been on. I've been on some pretty intense rides. I mean, I've been on like Intimidator 305, even some wooden coasters too, like the Voyage. I would say El Toro is very intense, things like that. Fury, well, maybe a little bit less, maybe not Fury. Sorry, Fury, you're maybe not quite in that category. But anyway, it is a very Cannibal too. Also throwing that out there is very intense. It is a very, very intense roller coaster. I don't think anyone would say it's their most intense, but I think for a lot of people it might be, if not like top 10, top 20-ish most intense roller coasters. This thing, especially in the front, you can feel the wind kind of like blasting in your face. I was almost like tearing up, like sort of unintentionally, like it was just kind of shearing at me. I was like, whoa, and a little bit of that kind of goes away when you go in the back. But man, like Shellraiser is an intense ride. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's quite top 10 material. I think it's an excellent ride. I think it might very well be of, vertical or beyond vertical drop coasters, the best one that I've been on. But yeah, I think it's going to make a lot of people's top 50 somewhere. I think it's going to be on the Amusement Today top 50 and, overall an excellent ride. So after getting a few re-rides, I got a re-ride in Shredder, went on Half Pipe Havoc again. I basically had called it a day, and that was within about 2.5 hours. So, it's a nice place to go. I think it would be great if you've got little kids or you've got, like for a date night or something like that. So I really enjoyed Nickelodeon Universe overall. It's very clean. Staff were friendly. Park seemed organized in general. I just think this place is still kind of in almost like the soft opening phase. Like it hasn't really, had sort of the media exposure that I think they're expecting when, the whole facility really opens formally in March. But yeah, for now, it was an excellent visit. I'd highly recommend anyone to check out American Dream. And I look forward to, when they open the Blasting Bronco and perhaps add more rides or, even other attractions like the water park is opening soon. They have that ski experience thing that had just opened and potentially returning in the future. All right, guys, thanks for listening.